The IPFW men's volleyball team concluded the home regular season schedule this past weekend with 2 home matches against McKendree University and the number 1 ranked Ohio State University Buckeyes. On Friday night, the Mastodons swept McKendree for their second conference win of the season, and on Saturday night, the Mastodons celebrated their seniors and fell to the Buckeyes in 3 straight sets. I'll be joined this week by head men's volleyball coach Ryan Rock-Parat to discuss both matches, as well as look ahead to this week's road events in the St. Louis area. I'll also be joined by Gabriel Quinones during the Spotlight segment. Stay tuned for more on VolleyDons Weekly, here on CTV. Welcome back to VolleyDons Weekly. I'm your host, Jordan Armstrong. A quick shout out to our sponsors, Alco, Active Ankle, ASICS, Glenbrook Dodge, and Hyatt Place. As I said during the opening, the IPFW men's volleyball team concluded their home regular season schedule this past weekend with 2 contests. Friday night, the Mastodons swept McKendree University, and on Saturday night, as we celebrated our seniors, fell to number 1 ranked Ohio State University. I'd like to welcome in now head men's volleyball coach Ryan Rock-Parat to discuss the 2 matches. Not a bad weekend for the Mastodons, being able to split, get another conference win against McKendree on Friday, and then although we were swept on Saturday against the Ohio State Buckeyes, who at the time were the number 1 ranked team in the country, a really good showing by the team.
How are you the number 1 team in the country, win both your matches, and drop to number 2?
Politics.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Straight politics.
Just throwing it out there. I feel sorry for you Buckeye fans over there. I don't understand it. Oh, what was your question?
How do you feel about the weekend?
Well, it was Easter weekend, and I hope everybody out there in TV land had a wonderful holiday weekend. Volleyball-wise, Friday night, I was pretty pleased. Saturday night, I wasn't too pretty pleased. So I thought we played as well as we possibly could have on Friday versus McKendree. We worked a lot on a bunch of technical stuff throughout the course of the week. I thought we had a really good preparation, a really good training block to get prepared for McKendree, a team that had beaten us in 5 at their place back in February. I thought we had some really outstanding performances from several individuals, and it paid its dividends.
What was it about not only the preparation, but the way that the team played on Friday night? If you recall, we were behind for a majority of both the first and second set. We always talk about trying to be the first team to get out to a lead and be the first team to 20. And actually in both of those sets, we were the second team to 20, having to come from behind. And for us, so far this season, we haven't been very successful in the later parts of sets within matches from 20 to 25. But for some reason, whether it was them making more errors, them being McKendree, or us being able to buckle down and play harder defense, convert a little bit more, serve more aggressively, we were able to come from behind and take both of those 2 sets and ultimately take the match, winning the 3rd set pretty easily.
Well, it's a combination of a couple things. Number 1, it's mental maturity, and number 2, it's competitiveness. And when you put those 2 together, that's where the execution part, I think, comes in. And we were down significantly in the first set, came back to win, down second set, came back to win. But winning is not just a lifestyle, it's also an attitude. And I think it started long before we played McKendree, for the simple fact is we needed to beat McKendree to at least put ourselves in a position to make the postseason, which we have done. Number 2 is in our preparation or week leading up to playing McKendree, we, at least I, stripped everything down to its basics in terms of how we practiced, how we trained, what we were trying to do, what we were trying to accomplish, and put more individual pieces in place as opposed to the team concept. And I think it paid its dividends. I thought our togetherness, our synergy, our glue or chemistry against McKendree was probably as good as it's been all season long. And that's part of the reason why we were able to win coming from behind, which we haven't done a lot of this season. Maturity, mental maturity has a lot to do with that. Discipline has a lot to do with that. But the competitive spirit that we had, knowing probably how much we had on the line or riding on the line, came true. And we had some wonderful performances. I thought Michael Keegan, our setter, played very, very well. I thought Alex Haltaler played very, very well. offensively in particular. And both of our middles dominated the net defensively. And I thought guys that came off the bench, and you're going to talk to one of them, Gabriel Quinones in the next set in the spotlight segment, did a tremendous job providing some sparks off the bench as well. So I thought it was as complete a package. Now, was it perfect? No. But as complete a package it was given the magnitude of the moment, how we played and responded.
So then we take that victory, which was a great victory on Friday night, and then transition to playing the then-ranked #1 Ohio State Buckeyes for senior night, home inside the Gates Center on Arnie Ball Court on Saturday. And it was kind of a mentality of, we need to use this match to help prepare us for how to battle against tough top teams and to keep everything kind of going in the upward trending direction going towards the end of the regular season. But at the same time, I don't think, definitely Ohio State didn't think that we were going to give them as much of a tough time in a battle as we did for all 3 sets.
I don't know about that, the latter part, about Ohio State not thinking that we'd give them a battle. We match up very well with Ohio State. We lost to them in 4 at their place back in February. And number one, we match up very well against Ohio State. Number 2, they just came off an emotional match against Ball State the night before, which was for first place in the MEVA conference. And number 3 is the fact that it was senior night. And so there's so much emotion on our side to play the Buckeyes. One of the things that I really respect about Coach Hansen and their program is how even keel they are throughout the entire process of a match. I mean, it's unbelievable to watch. It's a thing of beauty. And we came out a house of fire. I mean, we were absolutely on fire to begin the match. And then we came back down to earth, and that's where they excelled, but you never know it. And I thought we played well. I mean, offensively, we hit for the night 400 against the #1 team in the country. Oh, my goodness gracious. We outblocked the #1 team in the country. Oh, my goodness gracious. But what happened is we couldn't get the timely defensive stand that we needed. Our serving wasn't there. We did not have 1 service ace Saturday night. Friday night against McKendree, we had 6. So that was not there. We didn't get the key defensive digs or transition point scoring opportunities that we need. As close as that match was, and I think the differential through 3 sets was 7 or 8 points total, we just didn't make the defensive play. And when you play against the top teams or the top echelon teams in this country, you have to be a playmaker. I thought we competed well. And that is probably the best silver lining that we could come out of that match, except for the result that we ended up losing 3-0 when we had a chance to swing for the second set, hit the ball out of bounds, and then subsequently ended up losing that set and the match. I thought we competed well, but we're still a big distance off in regards to competing against Ohio States of the world.
Right, and then just talk a little bit more about Saturday being senior night, honoring the 5 seniors that we have on the team, Andrew Sellin, Luis Bertrand, David Frazee, Tyler Goldstein, and Nick Smalter, and just everything that they've done for the program during their time here.
Well, Nick Smalter is trying to get a medical hardship, so hopefully he'll be back next year because he's currently injured. Unbelievable left side player for us, moved to the right side late last year, has the potential to be a key important piece to our puzzle moving forward for next year. Tyler Goldstein, the jack of all trades, setter, defensive specialist, serving sub, unbelievable volleyball IQ. His father was a great player here, and Tyler has just an unbelievable pedigree that has really helped the maturity level of this team as this season's gone along. Luis Bertrand, I mean, what more can I say? Arguably the best libero we've ever had, just a defensive presence on the volleyball court. He's gotten better as the season's gone along. Another guy with high volleyball IQ. David Frazee has come a long way. I mean, this is really his most significant playing action, even though last year he saw a little bit, but not as much. And David is just a tremendous athlete, where he's come from, how he's developed. He's an ultimate team guy. He's willing to do anything for his teammates. He's an unbelievable kid to coach and work with. Great attitude, hard work ethic, and I can't say much more about him because he's just a wonderful kid. And of course, there's Andy Sellin, former All-American. He's got a cannon for an arm. His athletic presence on the volleyball court gives us 5 points right away before the match even starts, because the whole world is concentrated on Andy, and that helps open up other people offensively for our team. But Andy's just, not only is he a tremendous volleyball player, but he's just a tremendous person and a tremendous student here at IPFW, and he's going to go on to do great things. So it's a wonderful celebration senior night on Saturday to honor those 5 guys, and it was great to have their family and a lot of their friends here in town to watch them play.
And definitely was. Definitely enjoyable with the senior luncheon and everything else that we had. We'll sit down with head coach Ryan Rock Parrott again during the Dishing the Rock segment coming up in a little bit. But I'll be joined by junior setter Gabriel Quinones during the spotlight coming up right here on VolleyDons Weekly.
My research is from applied electromagnetics and from component level design to system level and then integration of these components. We have a basically well-established laboratory that we're using both for research and teaching. I think one of the great advantages that we have is the small classroom environment, because small classroom environment help us to engage students with one-to-one, and that dialogue helps us to know our students better.
Welcome back to VolleyDons Weekly. Joining me in this week's Spotlight segment is junior setter Gabriel Quinones. Welcome to the show, Gabe.
Hello.
I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you.
And Rock kind of alluded to a little bit of what we're going to talk about, you being one of the players that we refer to as being a jack of all trades. So far this season, you've set for us a little bit. Mm-hmm. You've been a serve sub for us a little bit.
Yep.
Last season, you were a serve sub for us, played outside for us a little bit.
Yep.
So what is it about pretty much volleyball that seems to fit you so well in so many different ways?
I don't know. I think just playing from such a young age, we kind of just played around. I've been on a lot of different teams, so depending on what we had to do, I just kind of did whatever I needed to. Played beach a lot, so I guess that helps the all-around game. And I don't know. My dad was always a big, proponent of just being a volleyball player. Like if you go to any of his practices, you'll see like the middle setting and the liberos playing middle and stuff like that. Just because he believes doesn't matter where you're on the court. Usually you have to play every other position, or at least know what they have to do. So I guess that's why I do it all, I guess.
And at least from a coaching standpoint, we've seen some of that influence that you've had in your younger years of playing and also here at IPFW so far transcend not only into how you play on the court, but also the bigger role you've taken as being not just a part of the bench, being a player that helps celebrate and everything, but also to give crucial information to players as the match is going on.
Yeah. Honestly, this year I think it's been that part of my role has increased a lot more. And honestly, I learned a lot of that from you. As your little partnership you had with Omar, I always saw that and how, fruitful it was for him. And I tried to do that a lot with, Keegan, our setter this year. If I can't play, I at least, try to help as many ways as I can, whether it's celebrating or giving information, letting him know what the other block is doing, or maybe some tendencies that we are portraying that he doesn't see maybe and stuff like that. I think it's really important, to have that in the bench, just to have that full team effect and not just, 7 people on the court playing.
But it also seemed like that wasn't just something that you were giving at the same time back during the middle part of the season when we were having some success with you as our setter and Michael was on the bench. It seemed like he was doing a lot of the same things that you did for him, for you, when you were on the court at the same time. So like you alluded to, just that relationship, I think has been great for you guys.
No, yeah. I love Keegs. He's one of my best friends. And we established, early in the year, it didn't matter who played, we weren't going to be, not cool with each other, or if he played, I wasn't going to be mad at him, and the other way around. And I've told him a bunch of times. I think he's a better setter than I am, and I think I know a lot more about the game than he does. So put together, I think we make a pretty good team. So that's why it doesn't matter who's playing. We kind of stay together.
Exactly. So then we transition from your role as a setter and being a backup setter, information giver on the court when you're off, and to then now your role as a serve sub, which we used you a lot as in the beginning of the year, kind of fell away from as you set, but now that Michael's setting again, we're using you again as a serve sub, not only for one of our middles, but sometimes for Michael at the end of sets. So how is it knowing that you're on the bench, not really doing much for the entire match, and then point 15 to 25 comes around and you now have to go in the match and put a pretty aggressive serve in to hopefully score us a couple extra points?
I think since I've been doing it since freshman year, now it's not really that much of a scary thing. Before it was definitely, you go in cold and you have to hit a serve really hard and go play defense and hope that you get a run or something. I think now I'm way more comfortable with the idea. Even towards the end of freshman season, I kind of got comfortable with it. It's something I think I walk onto a game expecting is just to serve at some point between 20 and 25, and usually those are clutch times, and I'm comfortable with it. It's kind of fun, honestly. I mean, I wouldn't want to serve at 7-7. 24-24 is always way funner. I think serving for Keegan, it's kind of cool that we have that option, that I'm a setter as well, so we have like 3 serving subs that can go on any rotation for our float servers, which are Keegan in the middles. So I think that's pretty good of us, I guess, as a team.
What would you say are the real important things when it's late in a set and you go in for Michael in this instance? Because you're really only in there for half a rotation, but with your serve, a lot can happen within that period of time when you're on the court. We can score a couple of points, make a couple of plays. So what's really important for you coming off the bench to not only serve, but now you're our setter on the court?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I kind of have to keep track for Michael, certain information or whatever. And that really helps when I go in, because then I know blocking matchups and what's been working and what hasn't. Because if we get the ball back, I have to set the ball, so I have to look for somebody that will put the ball away. And obviously, I think the key part of a serving sub is putting your serve in always, which is not always the easiest part.
What is it about this season? I mean, we've talked a lot, not only on this show, but also as a team, that as we kind of went through our growing pains in the beginning part of the season, kind of hit a little bit of a low in the middle part of the season, but now it seems like we're really starting to come up from all of that with not only a chance to still make the playoffs, but also we're just playing better volleyball as a whole.
Yeah.
So what is it about, just the process and the way that the season has gone that has kind of led us to where we are and the mentality that we have heading into our 2 matches this weekend?
I mean, I think the whole season has been kind of a learning experience for a lot of people. We have a lot of young kids. And, as opposed to like years before where it was like a few young kids and a lot of older kids, it wasn't, everybody's had to learn together as a team. I think we've done a good job, at least from like what we've shown the last couple of matches, of, growing through all like the hardships and all that stuff we faced. I think in a way all the losses we had were kind of good, because now we have that perseverance and that hard character, that we need. We've always been kind of weak at the end of sets and games, and I think now we kind of are tired of it as a team, honestly. Whenever you're out there, you feel that, people are just tired of losing like that, and it helps to push, at the end, all those losses we have. And hopefully that carries on to these, next couple matches we have into the postseason, hopefully.
As we kind of begin to wrap up here, just to have a little bit of fun with you, I'm going to describe some characteristics, and I want you to tell me which player on the team kind of fits that role or that person the most.
Okay.
So we'll start easy. We'll start real easy.
Okay.
Who would you say is the dad of the team?
I would say Dad, which is great.
Why do you guys refer to him as Dad?
Because he is the most responsible person I've ever met. I mean, he's like a 50-year-old dude in a 19-year-old body. It's crazy. And not like he's not fun or anything. He's awesome. I mean, I love the guy. He's just like, I don't know. If you ever meet him, like he's Dad. Like you'll know. We got him a mug, and it's official now.
Who would you say would be the jokester on the team, or if going back into like medieval times, the court gestures? If you had 3. Had 3 court gestures.
3. Well, top one would be Scott for sure. I don't think anybody would go against that. I'll put David as second. David is just the funniest person I ever met without trying. He'll give you the craziest answers and you won't even think about it. Third one, I would put probably Kyle Fitzgerald. I think he's really funny. He's always the guy to try to calm situations down and stuff like that when everything's kind of tense, so he's good at that. But definitely Scott, number 1.
Best cook?
Best cook. Not David, that's for sure. I don't think cereal's a meal. Tyler or Andy, I'd say, just because they've been doing it the longest. But I don't know, I haven't really eaten a lot of meals from other people. I think I'm a good cook, but I just eat my own stuff.
Best driver when you guys have to go somewhere, not only for driving skills, but also car environment?
Ooh, car environment. Austin Neese, for sure. Not the best driver, but definitely a fun car to be in. Yeah, he's kind of very easily distracted.
Let's see, what else can we throw in here? Quietest.
Quietest, ooh. Is anybody quiet on our team? Jason Selesky, definitely. Very quiet. He's not quiet. He doesn't say much, which I guess would equate to quiet.
Surprised, I thought you were going to throw Alex Dickman in there for that one.
No, you serious?
Really?
Are you serious?
This coaching staff sees some things a little bit differently.
Yeah, I was about to say Dickman doesn't shut up.
Well, how could he with all the monster that he
Exactly.
is?
No, he's like an 8th grader, but we love him. He's our 8th grader.
Exactly. So really wrapping up here, talk a little bit about where you are in school. I know you're kind of at the end, but you kind of switched your major at the same time because for some reason majoring in math was a little too easy for you.
Well, I mean, it was engineering. I did mechanical engineering for like the first year, and it was easy and it was just boring, honestly. I didn't find much of a fun challenge to it. It was just doing work all the time. So I switched over to computer science, which I'll finish next semester. Well, not next semester, next year, next May or whatever. And that's, I mean, a lot of math still, but it's a lot funner. It's like everything's a puzzle that can be solved, 100 different ways. And I think what I like about it is just the tangibility of it. I can see it, sit in my living room and make a game, just like I can make an application for a bank or whatever I may be doing, and it doesn't cost me any money, as opposed to being a mechanical engineer, and I can't really build a robot without any money or stuff like that, So I like that I could do it now and, build experience that I could use in industry, while I'm in college easily.
So is working with apps and gaming technology kind of what you want to try and pursue going forward, or where do you see this degree taking you after you graduate?
Yeah, I'll probably, computer science-wise, what I like to do is game development, a lot of that. I'm actually the president of the game development club, so that helps. Aside from that, I like to deal with database management, which is basically dealing with companies' data and if you have to search for something or go through customer information to see what they like and stuff like that. That's actually pretty fun. And then if not those two things, web development maybe, which is, I think it's just so useful. And I mean, those three things put together, you can work for any company basically. So I try to just stay in those three fields.
Sounds good. Best of luck to you going forward with that for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you to Gabriel Quinones for joining us during this week's Spotlight segment. Coming up next, everyone's favorite segment, Dishing the Rock, right here on VolleyDons Weekly.
Students at IPFW have the advantage over a larger university in that we are very engaged with them, we know them, we have relatively small class sizes, and we really know our students well. And we know their capabilities, we can challenge them. I just love the environment and the atmosphere here. I just love interacting with students, and I like the intellectual stimulation of teaching and research.
Welcome back to VolleyDons Weekly. It's time for Dishing the Rock. Joining me now again is head men's volleyball coach Ryan Rock Parad, and the rock we're going to dish today, Rock,
Our impressions?
go for it.
Oh, there are a lot of impressions I could
Go for it. You were just giving us one in
I
studio.
did. I was doing Sting in studio. It was a hit. Everybody loved it. I could do Sting. I could do Sean Connery. I could do anybody. It's awesome. I love doing impressions. I used to do impressions as a kid. I used to do Bill Cosby as a kid, Eddie Murphy as a kid with Raw Delirium, and I used to do Richard Pryor. The last time I did Richard Pryor was 1984 or something, 85.
So it sounds like it's time to dust that
But
one off.
I can't. I actually did. I did it a couple weeks ago, and it was. I did it in front of somebody at IPFW. It was the funniest thing. But I was singing Roxanne. I was doing this thing earlier. Oh, it was a hit. Anyway, let's dish the walk. I'm ready. This is a good segment. Let's dish it.
So this week, looking forward to 2 road matches.
Yes.
Big matches. Every match is big, but
Yeah.
in this case, end of the season, playoff implications on the line, traveling to Lindenwood, who swept us when they came to Fort Wayne back in February, and then that's Friday night, and then Saturday going up to Quincy, Illinois to face off against the Hawks on their senior night, which is also their alumni weekend. Both matches 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. What do we need to do besides win? Win's the easy answer. But what does the team need to do, not only in preparation, but also in a volleyball tactical standpoint, to get much-needed victories this season to all but secure a berth in the postseason?
Serving and passing, number 1. Blocking, number 2, like we did this past weekend. And number 3, we've got to play backcourt defense and transition to score. Transition to score is very, very important. We've got to do those 3 things.
So when we talk about defense, defense starting with our serve, trying to put us in a good position to score some points off of easy out-of-system blocks or get the ball back so we can transition. What is it about the mindset of defense that we need to have, which we lacked a little bit of Saturday against Ohio State, because while we hit 400, they hit 600. So
Well, the mindset to play defense has always been the same thing. At least I've always believed it used to be the same thing, is trying to put yourself in a position and then go and make a play on the ball. We don't make a play on the ball. If the ball isn't hit close to us, we kind of give up. But yet, when we're down and we need something to happen, then guys are diving all over the place. But that needs to be consistent. The serve, I thought, has gotten a lot better, because I used an analogy a couple weeks ago in regards to serving and pitching. And we've kind of clicked into that. And I think the guys have really responded well to that kind of an analogy. Our blocking, I used the analogy the other day in videotape, is almost like taking a charge in basketball. You want to put your body in front of the attacker in order to be successful that way. Well, defense is almost the same thing. You're trying to put yourself in front of the ball so the ball doesn't hit the floor. But because it's so much hard work, most people don't like to do it, because you're on the ground, you get dirty, you get bruises, you're hurt. People don't like that part of the game. Well, that's the part of the game, the dirty grinding part, that wins championships. And so hopefully we can respond in that way. But our defense has got to be better. I think our serving and passing is there. I like what we did blocking-wise last weekend against McHenry and Ohio State. But we've got to play defense, number one, and number two, transition out of that and attack and score.
we look at the MIVA conference standings, and right now we're fighting for a playoff position. Only 8 teams make the playoffs, and 9 teams are in the conference. Right now we are tied with Lindenwood University at 2-9. So looking at that, if we're able to beat them, not only will we now have an additional win, but they will also have another loss in their column. What is it about knowing that those are the real implications going into this weekend? Because not only that, but then we look at then facing Quincy Saturday, if we're successful Friday, successful again on Saturday, and we can actually jump and move into the 7th spot, where 3 weeks ago we were on the outside looking in.
If you can get self-motivated to play these 2 matches, then you shouldn't be in sports. It's that simple. Because there's so much riding on the line. I used the term the other day. These are our Super Bowls. You know, this is our gold medal games. Because so much is riding on the line. This is why you train. This is why you get up early in the morning. This is why you're sore and tired, and you devote so much time to the sport because of this golden opportunity that you're going to have to play Lindenwood and Quincy and jump from tied for last into the mix. And I think our guys have responded in that way. They did against McHenry when that was a big match, because had we lost to McHenry, then you could kiss our postseason goodbye. But they responded very well. I think they're going to do the same thing this weekend.
And we definitely look forward to that happening on the road. Friday night at Lindenwood, and then Saturday facing Quincy. I'd like to thank Gabriel Quinones, our guest during the Spotlight segment, head coach Ryan Rock-Perot, and also our sponsors for this week, IAB, Indiana Physical Therapy, Moulton, O&E, and Pizza Hut. For all of us here at VolleyDons Weekly, thank you for joining us. Have a great one.